now move on to our next session. We have Padma Bhushan recipient, former co-chairman of Infosys and chairman of Axeler Ventures, Mr. KRISH Gopalakrishnan with us. He will be enlightening the gathering on the aspects of resetting and emerging stronger in a post-COVID world. Ms. Karpaga Rajendran, 1998 E&I batch alumni, will be interacting with Mr. KRISH Gopalakrishnan. She is a global sales leader for Workday HCM at TCS based at London. She is a person with over 19 years of HR transformation experience. May I now request Karpaga Rajendran to take up the conduct of this session with Mr. KRISH Gopalakrishnan. Over to you.
Thank you. Greetings to the alumni of Annamalai University, faculty, students, family and friends. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to address you on this occasion. I'm part of multiple alumni associations, as many of you are part of, since each one of us has studied in different institutions from childhood to adulthood. And I found that longer away that experience was, your memories are fonder, and further away you are from your alma mater, again, fonder are your memories. Time spent since and distance makes you earn more for connecting with your class and batchmates and the alma mater. Your relationship with your alma mater is one of the sacred relationships. Friendships with your class and batch are unique. You are transported back in time, and it is as if the intervening years have disappeared. The nicknames that you use and stories that you have to tell are from that era. With social media, it is easy to get connected. My most active social media conversations are with my class from different institutions that I studied. And among these, the most active are with my classmates from school. I think your experiences must be similar. These are enjoyable interactions and make you feel younger. Annamalai University has several illustrious alumni, one of the most eminent being the former President of India, Sri R. Venkatraman. It is important to enhance the prestige of the university in everything that we do. Corollary to this is the stature in society is enhanced by the company we keep, your alumni associations. The universities in India have learned to utilize their alumni relationships better over the last few years, especially after the startup boom in India. Alumni have started funding and mentoring startups from their alma mater. Alumni have started giving back more. I hope that this relationship goes from strength to strength. We are passing through one of the most difficult periods in our lives. The entire world is facing the COVID-19 crisis with businesses and lives disrupted everywhere. The world has not seen a crisis which affects all countries on all strata of society in our lifetime. Quoting Mike Tyson, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. We did not expect this crisis and we were unprepared. We are all learning to live with the virus as best as we can. Our lives have been disrupted and changed in ways that were unimaginable just 9 months back. We have reduced travel and our meetings happen digitally. We have all embraced digital living faster than we thought possible before the crisis. A severe crisis changes the status quo and transforms people and societies. We adapt when we are forced to. Can we not make this part of our regular life? A crisis tests us and gives us an opportunity to stretch ourselves. We learn that we are capable of doing much better, doing more with less, completely change our path, understand who our true friends are, and show to the rest of the world that we can take advantage of the crisis to emerge as a leader. This is what I define as resilience. After I passed my pre-degree, that is the 12th in those days, I did not get admission to MBBS. I was devastated and did not know what the future would hold for me. I then switched to BSc Physics. I had to learn mathematics all over again since I did not study mathematics during my pre-degree program. I went for private tuition during this time to learn maths, and the tuition teacher helped me with my maths, but also helped me rebuild my confidence in my studies. He told me that there are many paths that one can take in life, and if you work hard, more opportunities will open up. After BSc Physics, I joined IIT Madras for MSc Physics. During MSc, I got an opportunity to learn about computers, got hooked on, and switched to do MTech in computer science. This put me at the right place at the right time to take full advantage of the digital computer revolution happening between 1970s and now. I became the CEO of Infosys in June 2007. Next year, that is in 2008, was the global financial crisis. Again, I had to work very hard to reduce the impact of this crisis on Infosys, its customers, and employees. In 2011, Infosys grew 26%, and we doubled the revenue from US dollars 3 billion to 6 billion in the 4 years that I was the CEO. Resilience is a trait that is used to face challenges or crises in life and adapt to emerge stronger. One can also prepare oneself for obstacles and challenges that would occur in the future. Most of the time, other people have taken the path before you and have faced the same or similar challenges and overcome them. They have shared their experiences and tools and techniques, and they have used or developed these to overcome the challenges. Based on these, you should plan and take preventive action. Let me give you some examples. Before you go online, you need to ensure that you have a secure connection and that you have the latest versions of all software. You should have an antivirus software installed on your machine. If you suspect a website to be a trap, get out fast. Another example is the need to be healthy with strong immunity. Eating healthy food and daily exercise will improve your immunity. Look at how COVID-19 affects people. People with comorbidities are at serious risk of severe infection and may even die. When I became CEO of Infosys in 2007, the first thing I did was to go for a health checkup and make sure that I took care of my health. I became very regular in my exercises. Employees, customers, investors, and society are all dependent on the success of Infosys, and I wanted to make sure that I was healthy to give my 100% plus to Infosys. After Infosys, I and some of my colleagues at Infosys set up Axelo Ventures to help other founders. Our tagline is Axelo helps early stage startups succeed. How do we do this? By helping founders set up and run their enterprises properly. Any organization will face several challenges in their journey. Some can be anticipated. For example, statutory compliances, tax compliances, good founder agreements, making sure that the product has customer fit and market fit are all important steps that we help, that is Axelo helps with for these startups. These are the known unknowns, and if these can be taken care of, then the startup can confidently face the unknown unknowns, like the COVID crisis, or a new competitor emerging, or a disruptive technology obsoleting your product, etc. These events are also unpredictable. Infosys and I are children of the digital computing wave. I joined the MTech Computer Science in 1977. That was the year Apple introduced the Apple II, world's leading highly successful mass-produced computer. This democratized computing. Computers were affordable and accessible to everyone. Businesses started using personal computers in 1981 when IBM introduced the IBM PC. Every white-collar worker was given a PC on his or her desk, and software programs were written to automate business processes. We started Infosys in 1981 with the purpose of helping large businesses write software to automate business processes. Of course, we gave it a twist. we decided to develop the software sitting in India, leveraging the lower costs in India as well as availability of abundant talent in India. India is today, Infosys is today a $12 billion business employing about 250,000 people. The IT services industry itself is a $190 billion industry employing 4.5 million people. This is what I mean by saying find a wave to ride on. The fourth industrial revolution is the wave that is pushing you from behind. That is today's youth. And this wave will take you further faster. Students today are fortunate that as part of the fourth industrial revolution, there are multiple technologies that are emerging, and these will create significant changes in businesses and our lives over the next 30 to 40 years. Today's youth can work in these technologies and help transform businesses, create a new future over the next 30 to 40 years. Future is not a linear extrapolation of the past. Future is created by integrating past experiences, inventions, innovations till today and current circumstances. It is deeply influenced by scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, and leaders. We are always looking for a faster, better, cheaper way of doing things, and that is the reason why new businesses are emerging always. When I joined the workforce in 1979, India's GDP was approximately $160 billion and the global GDP was $11 trillion. Today, India's GDP is $2.7 trillion, that's 17 times growth. Global GDP is $80 trillion, that's 8 times growth. So in the next 30 to 40 years, I estimate that we will see wealth in the world and wealth in India multiply several fold again. This multiple will depend on how we participate in these opportunities and take advantage of this. The US economy also grew from 2.8 trillion in 1980 to today a $19 trillion economy, the largest economy in the world. The companies with the largest market cap in the US are Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Microsoft. None of these companies existed 50 years back. Alphabet was founded in 1994, Amazon in 97, and Facebook in 2004. This is why entrepreneurship is important in any economy. They bring innovative new products to the market, they create new jobs, and they create wealth. I believe that India is the best place to be in the next 30 to 40 years. India is yet to develop. Our per capita income is about $2,000 and the size of the GDP is about $2.7 trillion. These will grow to $5,000, that's a per capita income, and our GDP will go to $5 trillion over the next 10 to 15 years. India will become a middle income country. As India develops, we will have the opportunity to create a new 21st century development model, not the consumption-led, unsustainable, and unequal model of the 20th century, but that one that is inclusive, equitable, and sustainable. This is the opportunity for today's youth and should be their goal. They can lead this transformation. Rest of the world believes in this vision for India, and that is why India is one of the hottest investment destinations in the world. Of course, it helps that we are the largest democracy and have 1.3 billion consumers. Combining the fourth industrial revolution technologies and the opportunity provided by India, India is also one of the best locations for entrepreneurship and starting a business. India is currently rated the third best location for startups. It has experienced professionals who become founders. It has several global and Indian VC PE funds. It has a growing community of angel investors. The government is actively supporting the startup phenomenon. Government is reducing the friction to business proactively. It's creating tax incentives and other incentives for building a new business. I believe that India is the lab for the world to deploy emerging technologies and business models. Let me illustrate with two examples. About 4 to 5% of Indians own cars. 10% can afford cars, and probably 20% will own cars in the near future. Imagine the issues these would create to the pollution levels in our cities, to the traffic in our roads, and the parking problems, not just in the workplace or anything like that, just at our homes. We should be accelerating the transition to cleaner fuels like electric or hydrogen powered vehicles in India, maybe faster than other parts of the world. We should rethink ownership of cars and look at other business models. Similar opportunities exist in many industry verticals: healthcare, agriculture, education, retail, even government in this age of social media and the fourth industrial revolution. 20th century was the century that US became the global superpower. In the first half of the century, US rode on the industrial revolution with factory automation and increasing productivity in manufacturing. Remember the Ford car factory and mass manufactured automobiles. In the second half of 20th century, US rode on the digital computer revolution. All the large companies in computing and information technologies, I mentioned 5 of them, are all US corporations. These businesses are young businesses, less than 50 years old. We saw a country and society transform itself in 100 years. Hence the question, how can we make this century, that is the 21st century, India's century? We have the opportunity with emerging technologies, the need for new business models, and the need for new businesses. We have the capability, we have the people. We need to work together with today's youth to make this happen. I see confidence and capabilities in today's youth. I feel confident that this is definitely a possibility. Our role is to create this dream, this aspiration in today's youth. We need to support them with funding. We need to mentor them through this journey with our experiences. We need to work with the universities to create the workforce that can make this happen. We need to work with and in governments to set the right policies such that together we can make this India's century. Thank you all very much for giving me this opportunity to give my thoughts on this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the inspiring and insightful speech on how to absorb and adapt in the next normal, and in fact, emerge stronger than when it all started. You also brought back golden memories of university and friends, how to make 21st century India's century. We have a few questions from our alumni, sir, from across the globe. Can we get started?
Yes, thank you.
Our alumni Radhakrishnan has a question on how India can take advantage of the opportunities post-pandemic. You touched upon a few of those in your speech now. What should we as a nation be doing today in the short and medium term to be in the best position for such opportunities in the future?
See, in fact, this crisis also showed us that if we put our minds, if we work together, we can actually do extraordinary things. India has become the vaccine capital, manufacturing capital of the world. The Bharat Biotech vaccine is completely developed in India. At the beginning of the crisis, we didn't have any personal protection equipment being manufactured in India. Today, we are manufacturing for our own requirements and exporting. So lots of things we did very quickly, collaboratively, working together. And this should be a lesson for all of us, actually. When we put our minds, when we set a goal, when we work together, when we change the regulations such that we facilitate acceleration, we can actually achieve extraordinary results. That is the reason, and that is that's the path for us to, it's the methodology for us to achieve impossible tasks. And that is again something that I would like to reiterate, that if we set our minds, we can actually achieve any task.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your vision for our nation, and that's really inspiring for the direction in which we need to move forward. Moving on to the next question, sir, from our alumni, Sudarshan. He has a question on how do you train teachers and professors so that they can spot and nurture potential entrepreneurs among students while they are in school and college. How to spot them early, and what would be your guidance for teachers and professors in that perspective?
See, we need to give them, to some extent, the flexibility to work with individual students. Today, they are working almost mechanically. They come to the class, teach, and they then go to the next class and go on. Especially in most of the schools and colleges, which are nothing but factories that are creating these people with certificates and degrees, students with certificates and degrees, and they've just become factories. So there is no personal touch at all. I think we need to bring back that personal touch. And I still remember, my days at school and college, where the teachers used to know who we were, who our families were, and sometimes they used to invite us to their place, or they used to come to our place and things like that. So the personal touch was there. It was the same when we were studying at institutions like IIT. I studied at IIT Madras, and since the faculty and the students live in the campus, we used to know each other much better. I think that's what is needed: the personal touch, the time for personal interactions, meetings outside the classroom, maybe working together in a social cause. I think that is what is needed. There is a life beyond classroom. Of course, classroom is important, but beyond the classroom, and taking personal interest in each student is how you spot extraordinary students, extraordinary capabilities, and then nurture them. And I can say with some confidence that if you ask anybody who has succeeded very well, they will have a story about some teacher who has helped them in the past, etc.
Perfect. So life beyond school or university is what you're saying is the main
Beyond the classroom.
Yeah, beyond the classroom. Perfect, sir. I have a question from my end, sir. We have seen more employers moving to more flexible ways of working after the pandemic. Before the pandemic struck, we were all, constrained within the boundary of the office, and now the boundaries are all broken. Do you think this setup is here to stay? And what should employers be doing to ensure that it is sustainable?
I believe it will stay in some form or other. The future of work is hybrid, where a percentage, probably, some estimates say maybe up to 70% will rotate into office and 30% will rotate to work from home. It gives flexibility to the employees. It gives flexibility to the employers. It creates a better, more satisfactory work environment. Work-life balance can be better. And it also provides what I believe this crisis has shown us: resilience. It is a surprise that very little disruption happened in white collar work, even after transitioning all these people to work from home. This was almost a seamless experience. Now we need to sustain this so that this becomes a business continuity plan for the future. So this becomes part of the business continuity plan for a business, that if employees are not able to come to the office, they can still continue to work from home. So for many reasons, I believe that future of work will be a hybrid model.
Perfect, sir. Thank you for that insight. Earlier, you touched upon how youth can be enabled, and our alumni Vishwanath wants to understand what would be our role as alumni associations like AUETAA in the startup ecosystem, and what would be the best way in which we can contribute back to our, alma mater.
In fact, the alumni are the best supporters of startups within their alma mater, I believe. And they can support them in many different ways. The important one is money, right? Funding. They have a natural relationship with their alma mater and would want to see the students succeed well in life, and so they are I think more than willing to fund some of these startups. Second is mentoring, equally important, or sometimes some people believe more important than even money, where you can mentor, where you can open doors for these founders. You can buy their products. So there are many things that the alumni can do for the startups in their alma mater. And the students also see the alumni as as their uh, what you would call as their icons. The successful alumni,
Models.
yeah, are their icons or models for them.
Sure. So you also mentioned about India's potential for entrepreneurship as well as new and emerging business models. Our alumni Lavanya would like to ask a question. Is venture capital startup ecosystem within the reach of entrepreneurs in rural or tier 2 cities across India? What can be done to increase awareness, accessibility, and support to spur the growth from all sections of society in all fields, not just from technology or from large cities like Bangalore, Chennai, or Mumbai?
So this is definitely a challenge. By and large, most of the startups are concentrated on large metros that you mentioned. And government is trying to bring entrepreneurship to tier 2, tier 3 towns. There are new funds that are emerging, primarily funded by successful entrepreneurs in these cities. So I can, when I look at Tamil Nadu, for example, I can say that there are angel investors now in Madurai, in Coimbatore, in Erode, in Salem, and I'm in touch with some of these angel investors actually. So we are now seeing emergence of angel investors. Once the startup becomes reasonably self-sustaining, some of them migrate to actually places like Chennai or Bangalore, so that they can access further funding, they can access talent, etc. And this is also something we see even from Bangalore. We are seeing that some of the startups actually migrate from Bangalore to the US or Bangalore to Singapore to access funding. So one, we are seeing emergence of angel investors in these places. These are successful founders or entrepreneurs from these places. Second, the migration to some extent seems to be happening even from Bangalore or places like that.
Okay, got it, sir. And what should we be doing differently to Lavanya's question there? How do we get to the next rung of cities or towns or even the villages?
It is a challenge. Typically, people who are from a particular city or region are the ones that support entrepreneurs in that region. So we need to build success stories, and once these success stories emerge, you create a closed loop positive spiral. They start funding others, etc., and they also becomes icons, models for entrepreneurs from that region to look up to.
Perfect. So thank you for answering our question. Our next question is from our alumni, Sridharan. He has asked, while sectors like edutech or health tech or even online retail and delivery based business have found a lot of investment right after the pandemic. What are the other sectors you think will shine in the post COVID scenario?
I see opportunities in many other sectors also. I'm seeing a large number of startups coming up in agriculture, especially with more awareness about living healthy, eating healthy food and things like that. So I see companies looking at not just organic, but food delivery services, even semi-cooked, ready-to-eat stuff and things like that, home-cooked meals. So all kinds of startups are emerging in the whole area of food and agri businesses. I see definitely significant opportunities in healthcare. Healthcare is probably going to be one of the hottest sectors, and all aspects of healthcare, including diagnostics, medical equipment, new molecules, new medicines, new test kits, and things like that. And preventive. That is exercise, yoga. The whole aspect of living healthy. I also see opportunities emerging in space tech. It's very interesting to see as India government has privatized small satellites. We are seeing emergence of startups in space sector. We are seeing now startups in this electric vehicle space, actually, two-wheelers to four-wheelers and battery technology, alternate fuels, charging stations. So, it's left to the imagination of the entrepreneur. Every sector, I believe, is today ripe for disruption with technologies that are impacting society, impacting our ecosystem widely, very broadly. Every sector is now ready for disruption.
Thank you, sir. That's very informative. The areas that you touched upon, variety of areas that you touched upon, really. The next question is from our alumni, Pavitra, who would like you to talk about some of the advancements in the field of AI. As you were upbeat on OpenAI GPT-3 technology, is this the next wave that we can look to ride on?
So AI is another broad technology that will have impact in every aspect of our life. See, I strongly believe that when a technology becomes ambient and invisible, it's everywhere in some sense. That's when it has broad impact on our life. Today, already AI is impacting us in everything that we do. When we do e-commerce, in the background, there's an AI program running to recommend, products that we should buy with the product that we have already ordered and things like that, or suggestions on other things that we need to buy. The speaker that we use, the Amazon Echo or Siri or Google speakers, etc., that we use, all of them are using AI in the background to understand our natural language, speech, and things like that, and then is able to respond to us. AI is used widely in healthcare now. For example, when you do a teleconsult, the initial screening and triangulation triage is done using AI algorithms, etc. AI is used for facial recognition. In the phones that we have, in the mobile phones that we have, the cameras are all using AI technology to do facial recognition and identify photographs where the same face is present, creating albums for us and things like that. So AI is all over the place today. And this is going to again impact every aspect of our life. It'll impact research, it'll impact, any business, and just like digital computing was the technology that was that disrupted our life in the last 50 years. Over the next 30, 40 years, I think AI will impact everything that we do. See, AI is a new model for a new paradigm of computing. uh, Before we used to tell the computer what to do through our programs, and the computer follows those instructions strictly. Today we train the computer using machine learning. So it's a very different paradigm for using computers to solve problems, and that's why it's so powerful.
Thank you, sir. That is really helpful. You spoke about resilience and your own personal journey, sir, especially your practical experience during the global recession in 2008. Our alumni, Vikrant, would like to understand what would be your suggestion to professionals like ourselves looking to scale and reskill themselves to be ready for the future?
See, continuous learning is a given. We can't stop learning, and we should not stop learning. Our brain is able to absorb new knowledge till the minute we die, right? Our brain is changing till the minute we die. We need to take advantage of this, and we need to continuously learn. It will actually keep our brain engaged and young. It is necessary for us today to learn continuously if we want to keep up with any profession. Every profession is changing with new tools, new methodologies, new technologies, etc., and we need to continuously learn. Internet is about 25, 27 years old. That's the internet that we are all using today. The widely used internet, consumer internet. It was it started with the introduction of the browser in 1994. So it's not very old. Mobile phones were widely used in the last 20 years, right? Facebook and social network came about in the last 15, 16 years. So our lives have changed dramatically in the last 30 years with all these, and it will continue to change. We have to learn. We have to learn how our professions are going to change with the introduction of new tools, new technologies, and that can happen only through learning.
Thank you, sir. And we have also seen that soft skills are becoming more important, especially in the post-pandemic scenario. What kind of soft skills do you think are, like, if I were to ask you, what are the top 3 soft skills that you would expect as professionals for us to pick up? What would be your suggestion, sir?
See, there are 2 aspects to soft skills. One aspect is what you just now asked me. These are things like creativity, ability to work in teams, ability to make decisions when you have incomplete information, ability to manage large teams, provide leadership to large teams, ability to you know understand and listen to people, because that's when listening skills are very important. That's when one, you learn from others, second, you understand their perspectives, so that we can actually all become better together as a team, etc. So these are the soft skills. The most important ones are problem solving, curiosity, ability to learn, ability to listen, and things like that. The second aspect of soft skills is about ethics and empathy. With new tools, technologies coming in, these can be misused also. Anything that has you know um, uh, good use, or anything that is useful to us, can also be used differently and can actually harm us and hurt us. And we are seeing this even in examples like an automobile, right? If you look at the terrorists in recent times, they've used trucks or cars to kill people. right? So tools can be misused, and it is through our understanding, our adherence to ethics and values and things like that, we become better as citizens, better as society, better as individuals. So ethics are very important, and ethics will also tell us, should we do something or should we not do something. We can create life in the laboratory today. We have the power to create life in the laboratory. We can actually choose what kind of life, what attributes should there be, etc. But should we be doing these things? These are very, very important ethical questions, and I strongly believe that soft skills, empathy, etc., are necessary skills today, especially with leaders and decision makers.
Thank you, sir. That is very helpful. Different types of soft skills, if I may call it that way. It's not just the creativity and finer aspects of it. The more important aspects seem to be empathy and how do we ensure that these are inculcated in school kids? Because it starts early, as you said. We need to get this early into the minds of our younger population.
So this is a challenge because the volumes are pretty large. Our class sizes are becoming larger, and as I said already, we have now converted our classrooms into factories that just pass students or educate and pass students. We are not giving equal importance to some of these skills, which are learned probably sometimes outside the classroom. And when you actually move to e-learning, digital classroom, etc., we further actually lose out on all these things because social interactions also don't happen. So this is something that we need to think seriously about. I don't have a answer. I think together we need to work at it. As India becomes more developed country, middle income country, I hope that class sizes will become smaller. Um, we'll be able to give better attention to individual students, personal attention to individual students, and maybe we can find some answers. It also requires us to train teachers. So that's another task that we have in front of us.
Thank you, sir. Our alumni Neelima, she has a question on startups. There are a lot of schemes available in the government for startups. Creating awareness and easy access to these schemes to those aspiring entrepreneurs, and the last mile implementation of these schemes has become a pain point. How do you think we should get over this, sir?
So, government is only one of the stakeholders in this game. Our alma mater, the whole university ecosystem is a very important ecosystem for startups, etc. You can get help from your alma mater. You can get help from angel groups, which exist in many cities now. Uh, and so you need to network and you need to figure out which is the best source that is there in your city, in your town, and that's the only way this can happen. A good entrepreneur is one who finds the answers, who gets the help when help is needed. If you wait for somebody to come to you and provide help or provide support, you will wait forever. That's not going to happen. So you have to seek and you have to find the people who can help you, the institutions that you can help.
So you have to find help, and government is not just the only help that you'll get. There are different sources, and probably government is just an enabler in this journey, right?
Yeah, many times it's just an enabler.
Okay, again, a related question from our alumni Ramesh. The government's recent Startup India Seed Fund is a step in the right direction. However, startups claim access to such funds is typically very difficult to, given the heavy bureaucracy, and then they have to deal with a lot of other last mile problems. So I think it's an extension to the previous question. You already answered it, sir, but anything else that you would suggest for such budding entrepreneurs?
See, I recommend that government gives grants, don't take equity in companies. Government as a partner, as an owner in a company is not very good. I strongly believe that governments should give grants. Having said that, I would recommend that startups look at private sources rather than government sources for funding. And there is funding today available. Large number of funds, angel investors are there, especially in metros, as we already discussed.
Okay, sir. I just had one more question, one final question. We have a lot of non-resident Indians living across the globe, and they are probably willing to plow back money, time, and their skill sets and mentorship to help the startup ecosystem, or even the education system that you mentioned, that we need to get all these inputs early. How can India channelize some of this in a structured and optimal fashion, sir?
Only through the university system that we have. I really recommend that you work through your alma mater, and to the management of these alma mater. I strongly suggest that you have alumni on your board. You have a very strong alumni relationship operation, and you take full advantage of the network that the alumni provides in not just the startups or the curriculum, but even figuring out how to improve the education system based on the experiences of your alumni from all around the world. Alumni have actually gone on to industry, academia, government all over the world, and we must tap into that experience to make our own institutions much better. So this is a responsibility from the management of the university also, to ensure that alumni have a significant role to play in the running of the institution. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. That was a lot of questions from our side, so aptly described with the right examples so that we can all understand. Thank you so much, sir. It was really good talking to you. I'll turn it over.
Thank you, Karpaka. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We just had an interesting interaction with Mr. KRISH Gopalakrishnan, and thank you so much, sir and Karpaga, for conducting this interactive session. It is indeed very encouraging to learn of various new opportunities that would be available in a post-COVID world that entrepreneurs could leverage and make the most of the opportunities. Thank you once again.